Hey guys, welcome to Jezebel and the Jester with Christina and Ernest. I am Jezebel.
I'm the Jester.
We are hammered.
We are half in the bag.
We are really, it's been a few drinks in, so just please forgive us in advance. We're going to do our best.
Wait, hold on. Forgive us.
Yeah, you're right. I don't give a fuck what you guys think.
She is being nice. She forgot who the fuck she was for a second.
I forgot for a minute how much of a baddie I was. I forgot, but I'm here now. Here I am.
Don't worry
Christina,
about it.
I feel like Jezebel is my alter ego.
Ooh.
Yeah, for real. I really
sure.
do. Like, I feel
I
like...
can fuck with that.
Like after getting out of the church and just leaving that like really religious lifestyle, I'm like, fuck that. Let me go to the extreme. And name myself Jezebel at this point.
Name myself Jezebel.
In confidence.
In confidence.
Without any regret. A lot of people, like, they refer to her, especially the evangelical church, refers to her as the Jezebel spirit. Mm-hmm. Okay? So basically, if you're acting promiscuous or you're flaunting or you're sexual or you whatever, they immediately call you or say that you have the Jezebel spirit on you, right? If you're showing cleavage or if you're like wearing a short skirt or like if you're trying to lure men. And when I left the church, well, any woman leaves the church, that's immediately what she's called.
Jezebel.
Like
regardless
of anything.
If you think about or
Correct.
leave the church, you're
now,
considered
for my
a Jezebel.
specific situation, you have to understand, like, if that's already the idea of Jezebel, now think about me. Like, I literally went from, and I'll put a before and after, like, just so people could see what I looked like before and then after. When I found my confidence, I was like, why is this a bad thing? Mm-hmm. Like, why is it supposed to feel bad to be confident about yourself?
Because confidence is power.
Yeah.
And they don't want women to be powerful in the church.
Yeah.
You literally can't hold a position of power.
Yeah.
Therefore, they don't want you to be confident.
It's fucking mind-blowing.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, so
absolutely.
I found this confidence in myself, and because I decided to own my body and where it was at and, like, just love myself where I'm at, I'm like... No, like, fuck everyone. I'm like, for me to, like, own my body, that should be a powerful thing, not like she's being fucking Jezebel, right?
But the church has to make it look like it's a bad thing.
Right. So when I left the church, Jezebel was basically like my persona, because I left from being like not confident about myself, and everyone thought it was about the weight. And let's not pretend that it wasn't like that had a factor in it, but it was more like I couldn't do hard things. That was more of the factor, right? So, like, when I left the church, I was like, this was hard for me to leave the church. You know what I mean? Like, it was hard. So now that, like, I've been, like, called that for so long, I was like, let's embrace it. Like I said in the first episode, let me embrace this. Yeah. Let's go for it.
Embrace that Jezebel spirit.
Now that we've, like, gone through another part of me that we weren't supposed to go through, you just think I'm so fascinating. No. Like,
listen, I do.
You know, for being my bestie, there's a lot of things you don't know about me. But we always said that we were going to save her for the podcast.
I know, I know these things, but I find them to be so fascinating.
I know, because it's so different from you.
Yeah. It's so interesting. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, I know what this episode's supposed to be about.
It's going to be about you.
But
please? No. This is a part 2. Hi, guys. This is a part 2 to addiction.
Welcome to part 2.
Welcome to part 2. The very first episode, I talked about my addiction with food, bariatric surgery, all these different types of things that I went through. Dealing with addiction, transfer addiction, all that good stuff. You guys can find that in the episode prior. We went on for a really long time because I had a lot to talk about, And the point was to talk about addiction between, like, just addiction, my experience, addiction, Ernest's experience, a.k.a. the Jester, and we didn't even talk about it. So we're like, you know what? Let's make a part 2. And we're going to make a part 2.
There's going to be a
because
bunch
it's
of part
really,
2s.
There is.
We need a fucking...
Yeah, I love that about us, though. Because this is why I started the podcast with you. Because we could just go on for fucking ever. I love that. But also, we need to time manage. Okay? No,
Okay.
fuck time
All right.
management.
Okay.
Just for the podcast, fuck time management. Right?
No, I'm here for time management.
You're right.
Yeah, it's a
I'm trying
good
to
thing.
be good. I'm trying to
Do
be
it.
good. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your addiction and what you dealt with, from a completely different perspective, nothing to do with food addiction, and something that I actually relate to, regardless.
I would kind of like immediately disagree with you.
Well, okay.
Because,
Because I know why.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know why. But like to an extent, I would
for sure.
somewhat relate to what you're saying.
For sure.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear how.
Yeah.
In the coming minutes.
It's only the past few years. It's not like I've always dealt with
But
this.
no, not even. Like food addiction and sex addiction are so
different.
Similar.
Oh, they're similar.
They're
No,
so
yeah, they're
similar.
similar.
Even when I was talking to my therapist, she would always compare sex addiction to food addiction.
Because that's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because both
Food
of
play.
these things.
No, I'm just joking. Okay.
Listen, if you want to hit both my buttons at the same time, because listen, I love me some food.
I know you do.
Do you know I
I
love
can
food?
tell already that like you are super into food play, but we're gonna get into that later in another
I love
podcast.
food just in general.
No, food and sex.
And sex.
And if you put it together, I know. So that's what I'm saying. Let's just go with. I want to talk about it so bad. I want to go off topic so bad.
I'm hella triggered.
But we're not. We're not gonna go off topic. We're not.
I can't.
We're not gonna get distracted.
Triggered.
Okay.
Triggered right now.
Let's go back real quick. Let's rewind.
All right. So sex addiction and food addiction, like both of those things are normal, natural things, right? So you have to eat, and you don't have to, but you have to reproduce. So sex is reproduction in our deepest core.
Yeah.
Like that's what that is.
That's the point of it.
It's the same, it fires off the same like neurons. It's the same like this is what you need to survive.
To reproduce.
To keep your species going.
Yeah.
So like if we take it back far
like
enough to when
in
we're
the Stone
fucking
Age.
not even further
than
amoebas. Fucking
amoebas.
single-celled organisms.
Yeah.
What do you need to do to survive? Because there's always something somewhere out there that's trying to kill you, right?
I never thought about this. Okay.
I'm here to fill you in.
Tell me more.
I'm here to fill you in. So even single-celled organisms, right? So you need to eat. You need energy to move.
Right.
And you need to move so you can reproduce to make more of you.
Literally amoebas.
So your species can continue on.
Dang.
And that's essential.
This is all coming from two people who don't want children.
All right.
But go ahead. Keep going.
Look.
Okay. Keep going.
Either way. So like energy and reproduction are in our deepest cores, the deepest cores of our DNA.
Right.
And there's memory stored in there throughout the years of us, whether you believe in, what's the word I'm looking for? We changed from monkeys into humans.
Oh, evolution.
Evolution, right? So whether or not, but we evolved from fucking somewhere.
Right, somewhere,
There's some
right,
memory
right.
somewhere. But these two things that we suffer with, which is just beautiful. I hadn't even thought about it until that last episode. But they're both natural things,
right?
Very natural things, and it's different from like alcohol or cigarettes or heroin because you don't need either one of those. You don't need any
to
of
survive.
those.
Correct.
So if you're like, all right, I'm gonna just quit.
This is so interesting. Yeah, like I can see the similarities. Like you need food, energy, and you need to reproduce sex.
Yes.
Dang, my mind is literally like. Which is probably why anyways, I was gonna say my addiction transfer. Anyway, go ahead. Uh-huh.
So yeah, both of these things you kind of need in your normal life. And so a lot of times my therapist would compare my sex addiction to food addiction because it's one of the few things that you can actually compare it to.
Yeah.
Because I don't think there's too many people with like water addiction.
Right.
Which is also
or even if you had a
need.
drug addiction, it's still not the same.
No, it's not. It's not necessary for life.
A necessity.
Yeah,
right.
for
Oh
sure.
my God, that's so good.
And so if it were cigarettes, I'd be like, okay, cool, I could quit that, and I'm gonna be okay, you know?
Yeah.
Or alcohol or any of those other drugs. That's why it was so easy for me to quit drinking for 12 years. It was like I don't need that, right? But sex though.
And let me tell you, sex addiction is like such a high percentage in the church. You don't even know.
But sex, though.
I know.
Listen.
I would say that, oh my God.
But
and
sex,
nobody
though?
wanted to talk about it.
Hold on. So there's a bunch of sex addicts in the church?
Are you fucking kidding me?
There's a bunch of sex addicts in
Dude,
general.
porn addiction is literally probably highest
bet.
percentage of addictions
No
in the church.
way.
We have more porn addicts in the church than we have any kind of other drug
No
addict.
way. I mean, it's so
100%.
easily accessible.
It's so easy.
And it's so normalized.
Absolutely.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Yo, it's gross.
But
Listen,
they
ahead.
make it worse in
Talk
the
your
church.
talk.
No, they make
Why?
it worse. They make
How?
it seem like it's so fucking dirty. Like everything you're doing is disgusting. It's
They
like,
make
dude,
it worse.
Yes.
Yeah, the more you say don't do this, the more motherfuckers gonna
there's
want to do
literally
that
a
shit.
program called Celebrate Recovery, specifically in the church. Is a huge program. This isn't just in my church. This is like Christian-wide churches.
Yeah.
Celebrate Recovery for porn addiction, and they give you like a little coin and everything, like you would get in AA. Like
AA.
it's the same
Yeah.
fucking
Well,
thing.
it's the same shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's my phone just fell.
You
Anyway,
can pick it up. That's allowed.
Is that okay?
Yeah. On the cusp of sloppy.
But like literally, it's so prevalent well, let me just tell you, and I know you're going to agree with
Please do.
me that it's mostly in the male community.
Yeah, for sure.
The male libido is very different from the female libido. Even if women can be addicted to porn, let's not pretend.
But women's libidos mature later on in life.
Yeah.
Is that true or false?
I feel like that's true
Is that true?
scientifically from like
Is it?
studies I've read and stuff. Like women get a higher libido when they're older. I don't know why.
Interesting.
I don't know why. I wonder why.
Yeah.
I will say, like, I'm almost 35, and my libido now is way higher than it was when I was in my 20s.
It's not a fair assessment, though,
It's
because
not.
you were unhealthy when you were younger.
I was unhealthy, and I was in a terrible marriage where I didn't want to have sex.
Exactly.
So
So, yeah, now you're like, fucking
now I'm like, let's
roll.
go. Yeah. Anyways, go ahead.
Where
Were you?
Where was I even?
You were talking about how your therapist compared
Yeah, food addiction and
to
sex addiction, for sure. So I guess let's go back to the beginning of where I think personally where my sex addiction started.
Okay.
Which is being exposed to porn at a very young age.
How old were you?
I remember the first time I remember talking about masturbating to porn was 3rd grade, and I remember.
How old are you in 3rd grade?
I was probably 7. I think I was probably 6 or 7.
I
7 or 8.
mean,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't
Way
want to
too
act.
young.
I don't want to act shocked because it's like what.
You can act shocked. You should act shocked, and
I'm
you
just
shouldn't feel bad
wondering,
about
as
acting
like-
shocked because
as
that's
like-
fucked up.
Yeah. Well, I would say the porn part is, but like you
Yes.
exploring yourself as a 7-year-old.
No, you should explore yourself as a 7-year-old, like just by yourself, just
Yeah.
with your
no,
own
by
devices,
yourself. Right. Yeah. By yourself.
not
with
guided by
porn.
some
Yeah.
fucking image of
Correct.
what it's supposed to look like.
I agree.
and that's
Yes.
what
That's what fucked you
that's
up.
what fucked me up from
Yeah, yeah.
jump.
Like if you were like by yourself, you didn't have porn, and you were
Yeah.
7 years old, it would be different.
You would just
like
figure it
you're
out.
just like, oh, what is this?
Yeah.
You know. But now that everything's
you know
so
what's
accessible.
you know what's supposed to happen? Your parents are supposed to talk to you about it.
Yeah,
but
and you didn't
I
have
don't
that.
know if people's parents. Wait, did your parents talk to you about the birds and the bees? Did your parents talk to you? Marky's sitting right here.
Did your parents
You're
have
about
that
to.
talk?
Your parents didn't talk to you about the birds and the bees? Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah,
What
I didn't
percentage
have-
of
I didn't
people's
have
parents
that.
talk to them about sex?
You know what I had? I had Sunday school.
I had sex ed in fucking middle school, and
Yeah.
it was a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, Sunday
Yeah.
school is a bunch of bullshit too, because
Yeah.
they just tell you to not feel those feelings.
We automatically don't listen in school.
Yeah.
But if our parents tell us something, at least it like resonates a little bit.
A little bit.
But
yeah.
neither, I don't recall either one of my parents ever talking to me about
Which
it.
is weird because now my mom's like always about. Sorry, mom. I know she's probably gonna hear this probably because she
Is she
like
listening?
wants to hear it.
Stop.
I told
Don't
her
do it,
don't
Mom.
do it. I told her
Don't do
don't.
it.
But she's like, I want to support you guys. I'm like, well, okay.
Just put it on and then turn the volume
and then
all the
turn
way
the
down.
volume all the way down. Yeah, exactly. But I told what was I saying? I forgot already.
You were talking about how your mom would talk about sex.
Oh yeah, now she wants to talk about sex with
Yeah.
me. Now that
Yeah.
I'm like not married,
Yeah.
She's like, oh yeah, so
It's easy.
who are
It's
you
easy
dating?
now. It's
Who are
easy
you
now.
with? What are you doing? And I'm like, Mom, I do not want to talk about this with you because we never talked about this before. We never talked about it. She never told me like what it was like, what it was supposed to be like.
Yeah.
You know who I had tell me? A fucking old man from a church told me how I should be having sex or when I should be having sex. Right? Like let's talk about purity.
Chills,
Let's talk about purity culture later in life. So that's what fucked me up. Is like I didn't know what that was like, and then my mom never talked to me about it. So I was like, I don't know what this is like. And then now I'm like, anyways, go ahead, go ahead, for it with you.
Let's go off, yo. Here I was concerned about whether or not we could talk about sex addiction for an hour.
Easy.
Yo.
Easy.
Right?
Like nothing.
It's such a, and I've talked about this with my therapist, that at such a vulnerable age, I was exposed to this mystical, like fucking picture of what sex was supposed to be. Right? And it was always at my dad's house. It was never at my mom's house because my dad had those fucking black cable boxes.
Your parents are divorced?
My parents were divorced since I was like 5 or 6.
So you lived in 2 different houses?
My mom had full custody. My dad had custody on the weekends. So when I was young, I would go over to my dad's house on the weekends. Okay. Yeah.
And that's where you experienced the most like porn access.
All of it.
Interesting. Okay.
And it was a very traumatic environment.
Wow, really?
Right? And so porn immediately became, even though when I was in the moment, I could remember laying in my bed watching porn. And in the moment, I didn't think like, oh, this is me coping. Right?
Right. You have no idea.
It just felt good.
Yeah. You're like, this feels good in the moment. Yeah.
Yeah. But that was my way of coping.
Yeah.
Was through masturbation and porn.
Wow.
And so just like food was your way of coping when you were growing up in a very traumatic environment.
Yeah. But I learned about masturbating at a very young age. Now you were 7, right? Is that what you said? Like 7-ish is when you started?
Yeah.
I was probably like 11, 10 or 11, so it started a little later for me, but like it's the same thing. Like I found food was good for a little while, and then you're like, I need something higher, something to make me feel more euphoric. And I found masturbation at like a really young age and through porn.
When did you start masturbating?
I would say probably probably 11. I was probably 11 years old when I first started, and it's different for girls. Because with a guy, you have an external piece, right? Like to masturbate with women, like with girls, it's like it's internal and it's like different. It's weird and it's like there's so many parts to it. And I feel like I didn't understand it. And then like I started watching porn and I started understanding what it was supposed to look like. Yeah. And then like that's where the body dysmorphia really started, you know? So I feel like you learn at such a young age what porn is or what sex is supposed to be. But you're only like what it tells you to, what porn tells you to. And then I had the church too at the same time. And of course at the church, porn was like, if you watched porn
is super sinful.
So sinful. Like you were shamed if you watched porn.
Okay. Right, so I would be at my pop's house.
Yeah.
My dad would have weekend custody. I would go over there. He had a cable box. I'm sure anybody that's fucking in their 30s remembers the black cable box. And I was thinking about this shit earlier today, and I was like, it was channel 83 and 84.
You already knew.
I still remember the channels, yo. It was the Spice Channel, and I think it was like Adam and Eve or something like that.
Gosh.
Yo, I remember so vividly. And like I said, it was a toxic environment. My dad was and probably still is an alcoholic. I don't know for sure, but every time I've gone over there recently, he's been drinking. Yeah. Right? And my dad, if I talk about him, I might start crying. But he is such I get so much from my father. Yeah. And he's such a smart dude. Yeah. Like, I feel like he could have done anything he wanted had it not been for alcohol. Yeah. And it fucking breaks my heart. It really does. Yeah. It really does. Because he's so smart, so fucking funny. He's like one of the funniest dudes that I know. This is why
mental health is a very important issue.
It's crazy. Yeah. And I feel like he could have done so much if it weren't for alcohol. Yeah. He could have been me, right? And imagine who I would have been if my dad was me. Yeah. Right? So
you would not have been where you if you had let that.
It's mind blowing.
Yeah. If you had let that control you. Yeah.
Yeah. And absolutely. So that was part of the reason I didn't drink for 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there was like, initially it was just because my mom took me out and made my life a living hell. But there was a small piece of me that didn't want to turn into my father.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so just on a little tangent here, I hung out with a friend of mine and we were under the influence of some things. And I started really reflecting on that shit. And I started bawling my eyes out.
Good.
Like, crying my eyes out.
Good.
And and it was, the biggest thing was like, I was tired of being afraid of becoming my father.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to prove to myself that I could drink and not become an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And so that's primarily why I started drinking, was to prove to myself that I was better. Like I was better.
That's
than
why
my
you
dad.
went on a 12-year sobriety. Like you were like, I'm proving.
I went 12 years
Yeah.
with being sober,
Yeah.
but I wanted to be able to drink and not become an alcoholic.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that was like something big to prove to myself.
Yeah.
And that's essentially why I started drinking, was to prove that it wouldn't become a problem to me.
Right.
But back on the sex addiction thing. So I was exposed to sex porn at a very vulnerable age. Right. And so I just grew up, and my whole idea of what sex was supposed to be like was this fantasized, depiction. Fetishized, all of these
the
things.
different things, yeah.
All of these things. The woman should come every time, multiple times. The dude's dick should be fucking ginormous.
Huge, yeah.
All of these fucking
Every
things,
time.
right?
Fucking
And
fit. At that time, fit.
Yo.
Really like thin,
Yo.
big boobs, like just like
Crazy.
a really abnormal idea of what a body looks like. Yeah.
And
It's different now, I feel like.
It
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
definitely it's
Yeah.
getting better. But
Yeah.
so is society.
Yeah.
And we're here to help that along.
Right.
But it was it's just, I mean, just the vulnerability and just how ingraining that is into your fucking psyche about how this is supposed to be. This is how everybody's supposed to look and all of that. And this is my coping mechanism during traumatic times in my life where my fucking dad's blowing his fucking top and getting angry and shit. Never at me, but I always felt like, another side note, I just felt like he never got mad or disciplined me to try and make up for the fact that he wasn't there.
Right.
That's my own
Yeah.
feelings. I don't know whether or not that's true or not.
Yeah.
But so yeah, during this coping time, this like sex and porn or masturbation and porn was what I kind of turned to. And then eventually it just developed over the years into a porn addiction, into an addiction to masturbation. And really what it developed into was an unhealthy relationship with sex.
And there's such a stigma on it too. Like I feel like a lot of men get like stigmatized, like, oh, like they're just disgusting. They're just, in the same way women get stigmatized for being like that, right? Like, oh, they're whores,
Yeah.
But it's like, it's really like a mental thing that you're going through. And
No,
people
it
don't,
is.
they don't seem to understand, like people have addictions. They have
It's
these
just
things
like
that they
being
need to work.
overweight.
They need to work on these things. They need to go. And it's like, people don't get that. And so
Yeah.
they just automatically assume a bad thing about you. Oh, you're addicted to sex. Oh, you're a nymphomaniac.
Yeah.
Like that's
Gross.
gross. You're disgusting,
Yeah.
and it's like, well, like, I just watched it, and this is kind of off topic a little bit, but I was watching this
Carry on.
TikTok of this girl, and she basically went viral for this video because she was talking about how she had genital herpes, right? And in the video, she's very confident. She is sexy. She is hot. And she's like, hey, I'm hot, and I have genital herpes, right? And she just, like, basically went on, right?
Good for her.
Yeah, and she was like,
Fucking good for her, yo.
here I go. And then I don't know if you remember the show or if you know the show. I fucking forgot what it's called. It's on MTV. I can't remember. But they asked her if they could use her viral video, because they like react to viral videos, and part of their show. And in their show, that she said yes. She's like, of course you can. Like, it went viral. Go ahead and use it. More viral for her, right?
Did they drag her?
Dude, they fucking dragged
Yo,
her.
shame on them, yo.
Yeah. They dragged her.
Shame on them.
All these like horrible things about how like she's a slut, opens up her legs, all this like
No
different stuff.
shit.
And she's like, that genital herpes is actually like very fucking common in the community, and no one seems to understand that there's herpes 1, herpes 2. If you have herpes 1 and you give oral to someone and you have an outbreak, you can give them genital herpes with your mouth, even if you don't have genital herpes. Like, there's a whole fucking stigma on it that you're just a slut.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
And she's like, so she made this whole video, like, basically shaming them. Like, you guys are sick.
Yeah.
You hear telling about how you're sex positive,
Yeah.
right? And then on
Yeah.
the other side, you're shaming
Yeah.
women for
Yeah,
having
for
sex.
sure.
And she's like, I got genital herpes from my boyfriend who had herpes simplex 1 on his mouth. And he had an outbreak. And he didn't know. And then here we go. Now I have genital herpes. You know,
Crazy.
and so it's just a stigma. And I think that's such a stigma for men, too, who have a porn addiction, who have, like, high male libido. Like, there's this, like, stigma on, like, how disgusting you guys are.
Yeah.
When really that's just who you are. Like,
Yeah.
but you're trying to work on, you know, anyways.
For
That's
sure.
just, I
Yeah.
just don't want you to be stigmatized on my show.
Yeah. It's all good. Stigmatize
I don't want you
me.
to be stigmatized.
Please.
Anyways, but go ahead.
But
Yeah.
so my early exposure to porn led to porn, masturbation, and then eventually when I started having sex, and this has always been like a topic. I actually talked to Katie about this earlier today, whether or not it was actually a sex addiction, if I had a sex addiction, or like a porn addiction or masturbation addiction. Like, what was it? Because I kind of use sex addiction as like a all-encompassing,
Like an
kind
umbrella
of,
term.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Whether or not I've ever actually been addicted to sex itself, the physical act, I don't know. Maybe, but I felt like I could do without sex and I'd be okay.
You'd be okay with just masturbating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But porn,
Yeah.
I legitimately tried, and this is how I know I was addicted to porn, because I tried stopping, and I couldn't. And I was like, ooh, wait a minute.
Like you couldn't masturbate without it.
I
Is that what you
I could
mean?
masturbate without it, but it's
Okay.
not the same.
Oh,
It doesn't hit.
really?
Oh, yeah.
So for me, I can't masturbate without it.
You can't masturbate
I
without porn?
cannot.
Why
Absolutely
not?
not. I
You
can't get
come?
off. No, I can't.
Really?
Yeah. So, but I don't. So I'm like, well, like, I'm like, should I just like slow down on the masturbating, or should I just keep watching porn? Like, I don't know. So I just kind of like go through periods of time where I like don't watch porn for a while and I just don't masturbate.
What are periods of time?
I would say like a month, 2 months. You know,
You
like
gone
where I
2
don't
months
watch.
without watching porn?
Yeah.
And you've
then
been
with
fine.
no
You
masturbating.
didn't even think about it.
No, I for sure thought about it because I was like, like you get horny. Like,
Yeah,
what are you supposed to
for
do?
sure.
Like, you get horny, like, and you're like, okay. And I'm like, do I call? Like,
Wait, so have you...
do I call someone?
Let me ask you this. What's the... So in SAA, which is Sex Addicts Anonymous, you're supposed to go 90 days, no porn,
Shit.
no masturbation, no sex.
I could.
No,
I
none
don't
of
think I
that.
could do 90 days.
No, none of that. I'm going to tell you about me trying to do that shit. And I tried real hard.
Yeah.
I tried real hard.
You did because
But,
because they I feel like they make you think that like there's something wrong with you,
Yeah.
and there's not anything wrong
your
with
phone.
you. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I forgot. It dropped again. I didn't see it drop that time.
Hold on.
Wait, where are we at?
I
Oh,
got
we're
you
only 30
something.
minutes. Okay.
Oh, no, we're good.
We're good. What happened?
Hang
are you
on.
gonna go get your
I'll
phone?
I'll be right back.
Oh God! Now I have to entertain everybody. Okay, we're gonna wait for Ernest to go get his phone right now, so he could look up a statistic. I'm sure, maybe a percentage. I'm not sure what he's looking up right now, or a definition, a Webster's definition, because he loves Webster. He loves. What are you looking up?
I'm not looking up anything because we're using all of my phones to record.
Oh, that's
so
right.
I don't have a phone.
Oh, you don't have a phone. What are you looking? What are you getting?
This is it. This is it right here.
Oh, what is that?
This is for you.
Oh, so I can look up things. What am I looking up right now?
I don't know. What were we looking up?
We were looking up. Well, I don't even know. Where were we? Where were we even? What were we even talking about?
talking about my sex addiction.
Absolutely, but we don't. I mean, at that
Here.
point,
This is like a phone stand for your pop socket.
aw.
There you go.
Specifically for my pop socket, which is so ridiculous.
Specifically for your pop
It's
socket.
my little eye, my little all-seeing eye right here. That's just in case.
Hold on.
Okay, what am I looking up?
Make
though?
sure the bunny.
The
Is there something we're looking up?
Well, I figured you went to go get this so that I could. No.
No, it's just
Wow.
because your phone fell out of your pocket.
Oh, that's.
Yeah. Can you try it? See if it works.
Yeah, it does work. I know
Does
for a
it?
fact it works. Yeah.
Just make sure it's
Oh shit.
Is
maybe
it all right?
doesn't work. Maybe it doesn't.
fucking Amazon.
It does. It
Can't
does.
trust them.
It does. It does. You just have to really. You have to maneuver it.
I don't really fuck with Amazon a whole lot these days.
I know you don't.
Anyway,
Anyway,
back
that's a
onto my
different
sex
subject.
addiction.
Yeah, back to your sex addiction.
So yeah, masturbation, porn. Then when I started having sex, it just developed into what could be considered a sex addiction.
So, like, when you would have sex, like, would you be like, okay, I need to have sex like I saw in this porn? Yeah.
That is the core of why I feel the way I feel about women coming. Like, if a woman doesn't come, my job's not finished.
Which is so interesting because I feel like a lot of porn now, that's not really like a thing they care about. Like, well, there's niches. So let's not pretend like there's not niches. But like a lot of times it's just like men fucking the shit out of someone and then that's it. There's no like passion or, you know what I mean?
Ooh, I did like passionate ones.
Yeah, that's the ones I liked too.
Yeah,
like I didn't like the
sure.
fucking, and I have a friend who's a swinger. Her and her husband are swingers, and like he's really into the passion, and she's really just into getting fucked, and that's it. That's all she likes.
Yeah.
And he likes to like go down on her and she doesn't like that. And so like they have very different like lifestyles when it comes to that. And I'm like, what woman doesn't like? That
passion?
It boggles me. It boggles me because a man that likes it and a woman doesn't, that's not something I learned. Like for me, I always liked the passion. Like that's the type of porn I watched. Yeah.
Interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
I mean, I got into some weird shit because of the progression of what it took. And but I never really got into like that like hardcore like
like fucking. So okay, so like do you think like being choked is too much? Is that too hardcore for you? Okay.
No.
So I like there's like levels.
In porn or my own personal
general,
sex life?
in personal sex life.
My own personal sex life? No. I'm done for that.
No, I'm down. I'm down to get choked.
I'm open to it.
Okay, I'm just wondering because even if it's passionate, like I'm like, okay, you can be passionate, but you can still choke me. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like
definitely.
you don't have to just be like, oh, I love you, baby. Like I don't
still
need
be
that.
passionate
It can be that, but also call me a slut. You know, like I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
So I like there's a I don't know, maybe it's the daddy issues for sure. Yeah, it's the daddy issues. I have a lot of
I got dad issues too.
For real.
Seriously.
Wow, we both talked about our dads
Yo,
both podcasts and we both
crazy.
and we're both sick mentally when it comes to sex.
Sick.
So it's fine.
Sick.
It's fine.
So yeah, I don't know. Did I ever tell you the setting I lost my virginity in?
No,
did I ever
tell
talk
me.
to you about that?
Maybe you did. I don't think so because I feel like that's a core memory I would have of you.
So this is like, I don't, and maybe it was like I'm sure it eventually goes back to the kind of porn that I liked, but I was very much, even before I ever had sex, I was very much into exhibitionism, or like at least
for everybody out there, what is exhibitionism?
So it's being watched,
correct?
Right. Mm-hmm. But not see. So I don't know if it was necessarily being watched, but I like doing shit in public. It like really got the juices flowing. And so I lost my virginity in a movie theater. Like
Ernest. Wow.
The very first
I didn't
time
hear
I
this
had
story.
sex,
I didn't hear this story.
The very first time I had sex.
This is a reaction video
was
right
in
now.
the top row of a movie theater.
Oh.
It wasn't even in a bed, yo.
Ernest.
Like, so I was doomed from jump. I was doomed from the start.
Okay.
Yo, even worse.
No. Keep going.
Moment of silence for me. Even worse, we like left the movie that we were in, and we were like looking for an empty movie theater, so and the only empty movie theater there was a Holocaust movie.
Ernest. Oh
what
my
is
God.
wrong with me?
It's okay. No.
Help
Keep
me.
going. This
I'm
is
getting
so
help.
good. This
I'm
is
getting help.
so good.
I'm dead serious.
So you guys went to a movie theater where there was a movie playing about the Holocaust, and you ended up finishing there.
It was empty. We went to the top row.
No, it's fine. But the movie was playing.
The movie was playing.
Okay.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
We went to the top row and did the do. That's the first time.
That's where you lost your virginity.
That was the first time.
It's romantic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is my reaction.
And so, but like it created this such like a terrible thing to where I couldn't I call it having bed sex was boring to me.
Yeah.
Having bed sex was boring from the start.
Yeah.
Like fuck.
Yeah.
That's so fucked up.
So you don't like bed sex at all?
No,
now.
it's fine. It's good.
It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's
might
the
make it
thing.
good.
Like, I feel like you can have good sex with a partner, and you can have great sex, and you can have fucking euphoric sex. Like, there's like, I feel like
That
you
life-changing sex?
Yeah. Like, I feel like you can do all of those things with the same person. You can have bed sex and it still be good.
Oh, yeah,
like, and
100%.
still be. And here's the thing: it's different for men and women. And I don't know if it's for you. Maybe you can speak on it. But for women, it's so much more. It's more about intimacy, right? Like, if I have a love kink. If you can make me feel like you fucking love me,
wherever you're at,
I will come.
Wherever you're
Absolutely. Like,
Yeah.
if it doesn't matter. Like, if you can make me feel like I'm the most fucking beautiful thing you've ever seen in your fucking life, and you make me feel like a goddess, I will fucking
Let me go ahead and
anything
clarify.
you want to do.
It is not like that for us.
Yeah, I know.
For a large percentage of us,
Yeah.
it's not like that.
I could
It is
probably
very
figure.
much physical because
Yeah.
we don't we
It's
don't know what
emotional
emotions
for
are.
us. Yeah.
So how are we going to get off on emotions
Why do you
when
think
we
that
can't
is?
even?
If we all come from like the same thing, like we're all like just amoebas and cells formed, why are we so fucking different?
Well, it's nature and
Yeah,
nurture,
like,
right?
yeah,
And so
yeah.
we were the ones that had to go out and gather
Hunt.
to get the fucking food.
Yeah.
And women stayed home and took care of the home and took care
Yeah.
of the, if you want to go back to that caveman kind of times
you wanna-
bullshit,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Women stayed, at home and took care of their home, took care of the children, took care of the offspring, which is a very important role because again, we need to reproduce, but not only do we need to reproduce, we need to make sure our offspring survive.
Right.
Right. And so that's very
It's
important.
an essential part of a woman's
It's-
role
It's
in that
very
time.
important.
Yeah.
So, but that's kind of, and I feel like we just evolved to become different creatures, right?
Yeah.
Because we, as far as the male species, the male sex had to go off and I would imagine fight fucking saber-toothed tigers or hunt down
Right.
gazelle or whatever the fuck we were doing.
Dude,
Eventually developed a lot of testosterone.
we wouldn't survive now.
Oh fuck no.
We wouldn't fucking
Oh, we would
survive
be
now.
doomed.
We would be like, I'm hungry. Let's go to MeDiet Cafe. Whereas before, it would be like, oh, let's go hunt some fucking saber-toothed tigers.
I'm gonna go stab this woolly mammoth with my spear. Yeah, we'd be fucked.
We'd be fucked.
We'd be fucked.
I wouldn't
But
survive.
we
Neither here nor
just
there.
developed different hormones,
Yeah.
and really that's a lot what it's about. Testosterone
hormones.
versus estrogen.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. And then someone with polycystic ovarian syndrome, that actually like turned my libido way down.
Yeah.
I mean, all the way down where I didn't want to have sex with my husband ever. That had a lot to do with emotions too, but a lot of it had to do with my libido. It was
Yeah.
so fucking low, and then I was like depressed, and I had all these issues. Medications have a lot to do with the libido too. Like if you're taking antidepressants or if you're taking anti-anxiety, you're going to have a lower libido. Like there's just a lot of side effects when it comes to that kind of stuff, which is why I was so hesitant to fucking get on drugs. I was like,
yeah.
I have mental health issues.
Yeah.
But also, I don't want my sex drive to go away.
Yeah.
Because that losing almost 180 pounds has been literally the best part of it has been my libido.
Yeah.
Like my libido was down here, and then it's like all the way up here,
Yeah,
right?
for
And
sure.
I know that a lot of women can attest to that have had the weight loss surgery because they're like, dude, my sex life is fucking
Top notch.
since I've had weight loss surgery. So it has nothing. That's why I'm like, dude, who cares about body image? How is your sex life?
Yeah.
Like, how are you feeling libido wise? Like that's where the confidence comes from too, right? Like, you feel so much better. You feel sexy. You feel, I don't know, there's just something that comes out of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's definitely very different from where it was before.
Uh-huh.
But I would never, like, I had such a hard time getting on my meds because I was like, well, how's it going to affect my sex drive?
Again, well, the medication should be used as a tool.
Right.
Just like your weight loss surgery.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be something that you stay on forever.
Right.
But if you can use that to kind of stabilize your mood enough to manage your life well enough to where you feel like there's less stressors in your life.
Yeah.
And you can come off of your medication
Right.
and feel somewhat normal.
I mean, I'm on my meds and I had the best sex that I've ever had. Not really ever.
Well,
not ever.
No.
Let's not say ever. Let's not say ever.
First of all, you're not fully on your medication yet.
It's true. Yeah. I'm only
Okay.
like 2 weeks in.
And you
Yeah.
said, wait, hold on.
Not the best sex. I exaggerated. We're not going to go there because we're going to talk about
You said it out loud with your mouth. We got 15 or so minutes, right?
I went a little, I over exaggerated. I'm
No,
not
no,
gonna
no.
say the
Oh,
best
no.
sex of my life.
I hear you.
But I'm saying, like, even on my meds, I was like, oh, I was so scared to get on these meds because I was like, oh my God, my sex drive is going to fucking tank.
Uh-huh.
And then I had someone reach out to me last night that was like someone I hadn't talked to in a while. And I was like immediately, I was like,
How long had it been since you had sex?
Oh my God. When was the last time I've had? Oh, well, I had the rapper. But that was.
When? How long ago was that?
Oh, like 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and it was all right.
Hold on. So it was 2 weeks and you were jonesing.
It was jonesing.
You were jonesing real bad.
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Interesting. All right, hold on.
Wait.
I want to come back to that, but I'm gonna wrap up mine real quick.
Okay, go with yours.
So
Go.
I lost my virginity.
Oh yeah, in the
theater.
Holocaust movie.
Yeah. There were some other aspects of that I'm gonna leave out.
Okay, for right now.
For other people's sake, right?
Okay,
Because there
okay.
might be some people who are listening to this. I don't want to put their business all out
Can
there.
you tell me
but
later though?
I'll tell you off the mic.
Okay.
I'll tell you off the mic. Yeah.
That should be another slogan.
Ooh.
Off the mic.
Off the
we
mic.
should start a Patreon and
Ooh.
charge people to listen to the off the mic.
Yo, let's go. Yo.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Anyway.
Anywho, so yeah, that happened.
Mm-hmm.
I developed, and just my just ridiculous image of what sex was supposed to be just kept getting worse and worse and worse and
Yeah.
worse and worse. And so I would get into like worse pornography and just like I would try and just do crazier and crazier shit in the bedroom, just to chase
get the
that dragon. Was chasing that
yeah.
fucking dragon,
Getting
right?
that dopamine hit in the bedroom. Yeah.
Exactly. And so eventually it ended up with me cheating on my ex-girlfriend, who was a therapist who worked with partners of sex addicts.
Okay, you did not tell me any of that. Are you
So
fucking
glad I
kidding
saved this
me?
for the podcast. Oh my God.
Wait, what? I knew about the cheating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew about the cheating.
Mm-hmm.
The same person I'm thinking of, right? Yeah.
Starts with an S.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I knew about that person. I knew about the cheating.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know she was a therapist.
She's a therapist.
I didn't
Yeah.
know she was a therapist for
Yeah.
sex addicts.
Yeah.
So,
for
oh my
partners,
gosh.
For partners
For
of
partners
sex
of
addicts.
se- oh my
She might be
God.
sex addicts now, but she was working. That was something she was working on. But yeah.
Oh my gosh. Were you her client?
I feel like I was I always felt like I was a
project?
project of hers.
Oh,
Not always.
my
In the
God.
beginning,
Didn't
I
she
was
want
like,
to start a podcast with you?
yeah. In the beginning, I was like, yo, why are you fucking around with me? Like, and I was, listen, God, dog, we don't have enough time.
My mouth is like
Just
wide
agape. Look, John Mayer had just came out with this song, and for the life of me, I can't remember the name
why
of
you're
it.
so obsessed with John
No.
Mayer?
This is
Okay.
before. This is
Okay,
before.
okay.
Shout out to John Mayer.
John Mayer, if you're watching, we should have you as a guest on our
Stop
podcast.
it. He wouldn't.
Dude,
But
if he-
either way.
Could you
either
imagine?
Way, don't
okay,
get
good, don't get distracted.
sidetracked.
Okay, go ahead.
Don't get
Don't get
distracted. Either way,
Okay.
he just came out with this song talking about how someone's like, everybody's lying, but I'm the same way too. This, just like about being honest, right? And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Like let's be honest, right? And in my mind, I told myself, you know what? I'm gonna be 100% honest in the next thing that I come across as far as relationship wise. And so my ex and I got back in touch after a while of being out of touch, which might be something I'll talk about later. I don't know. Either way. And so I was like, fuck it. I'm going to be 100% honest. You know, anything she wants to know, I'm going to tell her. And if she doesn't like it, then so be it. If she does, cool. Right?
Because why not be yourself?
Right, be 100.
Yeah,
be 100,
dude,
and you
I'm
don't
all
have to
about
hide
that.
anything. It was very freeing.
Yeah.
It felt very good.
Yeah.
And so like she asked me about some of my like, I call them sexcapades. And I was open and honest with her, and I told her about a lot of the things that I did, and she continued to like talk to me, and I just didn't really understand, right? And I was like, and after I did what I did over, I think it was like almost a year, I was like, why were you fucking with me from the beginning? Like you knew. And even at my job, we were doing addiction training. Like right when we started talking, right when her and I started talking, the craziest shit.
That's crazy.
And what's funny is I never made it to the actual training, but one of the guys brought back the sex addiction survey, right? And so I was like, oh, let me see this. And I took it, and I took the sex addiction survey, and I had good remarks. I was like, I did pretty well on it.
Okay.
As far as in a bad way. And so
in a bad way.
I'm
like, good for you.
I had listen, I scored it was like out of 50, and I think I got like a 23 or 24. And it was just asking you about crazy shit that you did, essentially. And I gave it to one of my coworkers who's pretty square. I love you to death though. And he got a 6. And I was like, oh, so this whole time I thought I was just a freak, but maybe there might be a problem. And so I was like, okay. And so I shared that with my ex, and she's like, yeah, you know, she I'm sure she would already assumed
you had a problem.
Yeah. And through a whole ass journey of about a year, eventually I came to ending up cheating on her. And like it all came crashing down. Like it was,
it's almost like it was an adrenaline rush for you. I'm not assuming.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, for
you
a lot
definitely
of
say that.
Yeah. For a lot of
sure.
people, I've talked to my therapist about this too, because when I was with my late husband, like, I never cheated on him, but I wanted to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I wanted to because I wasn't happy.
Yeah.
And like I wasn't sexually satisfied. And so like I wanted to so badly cheat on him, but I was like, I can't, because I was in a cult at the time too. So I was like, I definitely can't. I can't be a mistress to someone else. And so like, but at the same time I was like, well, maybe I'm just really fucking unhappy where I'm at. I'm not sexually satisfied where I'm at.
Get out.
And so I need to get out, right? But like I feel like I also, even if I got out, like that adrenaline, like when you are married or you're interlocked in some sort of relationship, the idea of going out of your way to sexually satisfy yourself, you know what I mean? It's very selfish. No offense. It's very selfish because you're really thinking about like, offense take. Please take all offense to this. And then for me too, I was thinking about it. I never did it. I never acted on it, but I wanted to so badly because I was like, I'm not satisfied. And the idea of doing it gave me so much adrenaline. And then I was like, oh my God, what if I actually fucking did it? And I never did. And because I couldn't. And I was like, I had too much conviction. And it was really guilt too from the church. Like I couldn't do it, you know?
Yeah.
But like, I think if I hadn't been involved in the church at all, I probably would have.
Probably would have.
Yeah. Because I would have been like, I like the adrenaline idea of
that's
like.
a good thing. That's kind of there's good things about church.
Things about church, yeah.
And that's one of the ones.
Yeah.
It makes you feel.
It keeps you from doing something that's probably not very moral.
It makes you feel guilty.
Yeah.
It makes you feel guilt about some bad
about
things.
something that's bad.
Yeah. About at least murdering somebody.
Yeah.
And
correct.
Fucking your neighbor's wife.
Right. Something.
You should feel bad about that. You're like, you know what? I should. You're right.
Yeah. Or if you should feel bad about like being in a monogamous relationship with someone.
We've been saying bad. You said bad.
Yeah. You should feel guilty.
Yeah.
You should feel guilty if you're in a monogamous relationship with someone that you have not.
For those of you that don't know, one of the very first things I learned in therapy was that bad is not a feeling.
It's not a feeling.
You need to unpack that.
Yeah.
And figure out what you're actually feeling.
Yeah.
Which a lot of the time is guilt or shame.
Shame.
Shame and guilt are both sadness. You can feel sadness. You can feel angry.
Yeah.
There's a myriad of emotions.
Normally when you say, I feel bad, you're feeling guilty.
You're feeling guilt or shame.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because good and bad. That's like, that's where it lands.
Bad is not a feeling.
Yeah, bad is not a feeling.
I'm going to fuck y'all up with that one.
Yeah. We're going to have a whole talk about that.
Bad is not a feeling.
Yeah, but for real, like I felt guilty. When you feel guilty about something, when you go outside of your monogamous relationship, something you haven't talked about with your partner, if it's not a conversation you've had, hey, I'm looking to maybe talk about having an open relationship or talking about that. If you haven't had that conversation and you go out and you fuck someone else, then you're cheating.
That's blatant.
Wrong.
Yeah, it is.
It's wrong.
Yeah.
And anyone that argues with that, that's,
No, go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, get the fuck out of
get
here.
the fuck out.
Let's keep it 100. Nah,
Let's keep it
fuck
100.
yourself.
But if you've had a conversation with your significant other and it's whatever, like you guys are cool, that's
it takes
different.
more than just a conversation, though.
Right, it's communication.
Yeah,
There's
it's
a
understood
understanding.
and it's an agreement,
Correct.
not just communication. It's an agreement amongst you
And we
two.
can talk about that because I have a lot of friends that are like that. We kind of
that's-
talked about that before.
That's
yeah.
episode. That's part 2 of the
first one.
ethical non-monogamy
Dude,
episode.
yeah, we should have as part 2 of
We're
for
definitely
that.
gonna have a part
yeah,
2.
because we have to go further in that.
Definitely.
Because I've been thinking about it a lot lately.
We gotta tell some stories. We gotta tell some ethical non-monogamous
54
stories.
minutes. Okay, we're doing
So
pretty
wait,
good. Okay,
where did I finish?
You
up?
were saying that you.
Oh, wait.
Honestly.
Oh, what was I saying?
What were you saying?
I was talking about
okay.
cheating on my ex.
Oh, yeah, you
right?
cheated. Mhm.
And so that was kind of like the apex of the climax, if you will, of my sex addiction. And that's when I started getting help. Completely because of her. And so after
she wanted you to get
yeah,
help.
for sure. So after I cheated on her, she was still down to take me back. Like,
wow, okay.
Yeah.
Good for her.
That
takes a lot, yeah.
And I ended up breaking up with her because I was like, look, if I cheated on you, then clearly something's wrong here.
Yeah.
And I ended up breaking up with her. We separated. I did some unthinkable things. And to try and cope.
Yeah.
Yo, you took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah, I did. I sucked them right out.
To
yeah.
cope. Right. And after the fact, it didn't scratch the itch enough. And I was like, yo, maybe it is her. Like maybe she's like what I need.
Yeah.
You know? And even I was gonna say, even after the fact, I'm not the type of dude to smash and dash. It's just not my style. I'll like cut and then want to cuddle.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's me. But when I did what I did, when I had sex with that girl and cheated on my ex, like I'd never felt that much shame and guilt and all of the emotions at the same time. It was
so you literally fucked and then you were like, I can never talk to you again.
No, it wasn't like that.
No?
And unfortunately it wasn't. But I had sex with her and then I could not stomach staying at the apartment.
Oh, like you fucked her and then you were like, I gotta go.
I came and I left.
Yeah,
and
there's
I
the guilt.
left, and it was super late at night too,
Yeah.
midnight, 1 o'clock, something, whatever it was. And I left her apartment because I couldn't. My stomach hurt as soon. Look,
because in the moment you're into it, but
the blink of an eye.
What do they call it? They call it I forgot what it's called. It's called
post nut syndrome.
Yes, PSD. No, I'm just kidding. PND.
Post nut syndrome.
Yeah, or something along those lines. Yeah. That's a real thing.
Oh no, post nut clarity.
Yeah, that's
There's
what it is.
Post nut clarity.
Yeah, PNC. That's what it's called. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
and absolutely had that. And
yeah,
and it came crashing down on me. And that ride, let me tell you what, that ride home was
awful,
sobering.
Oh,
was sobering, and even though I wasn't quite in touch with those emotions yet,
yeah,
I felt them shits.
You did.
I was feeling those feels.
Oh,
right?
shit.
And I was like, oh my God. And in my sick and twisted mind, I was like, I must love her because I feel this way after I did what I just did.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so the next morning, and I'm talking my talk, I'm speaking my piece. The next morning, there's so many more fucking like nuances to this story.
I know.
The next morning I called her
Part
up.
3. No.
The next morning I called her up and I was like, yo, everything's all hanky dory. Like, hey, I kind of want to talk to you and, figure things out. The first thing she says, where were you last night?
Oh, and then you just.
Oh, my stomach.
Oh, God.
Because
you were going to. Okay, so were you going to break up with her? Like before she. Let's pretend she never asked you that question. Would you have broken up with her like before that? Like
probably not. No, because I didn't want to break her heart.
Yeah.
I was talking to Katie about this tonight.
I
didn't want to break her heart. I didn't have the courage.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was tough.
Yeah.
And so
you know what? My ex didn't want to break my heart either.
Yeah.
I could tell.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And so you had to do what you had to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but yeah, and so she asked me, where were you last night? And just like the weight of the world came crashing down. I told her where I was. Long story, a little bit shorter. I told her where I was. I told her we didn't have sex. It weighed on my conscience so heavily. Like 3 or 4 or 5 days later, I told her, and I opened up and I told her everything. I told her where I was. I told her we had sex, the whole nine. Destroyed this poor girl.
Yeah, of course.
Destroyed her. And so that's why I can empathize a little bit with what happened with you.
To me? Is that why we became so close? You were like,
I was like, I've done that.
Yeah.
I've done that.
Yeah.
And so, and so it destroyed her.
And to see it from an outside view, not in it, you were like, oh man, like someone that you were like, oh man, like she's dope, and then you're like, oh fuck, she got fucked over.
I've done that before. I've been, and that's what I've told you. Like when you were saying he's like a sociopathic, like she would say that shit about me early on in our relationship, and like in hindsight, I'm like, what were you doing?
Yeah,
like what were you doing? But so. I broke her heart, ended up breaking up with her, which broke her heart even more.
It's okay.
Right?
I mean, like,
did unthinkable things, realized that wasn't it, tried to get back with her. We got back together, and then I started going to therapy. And so I was going to...
Because she didn't want to let you go.
Yeah, for sure.
She didn't want to let you go. But like, and that's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard when you're like that into somebody, like to be like, okay, this is it. You know what? He had a little slip up. Like when you just try to make excuses for that person. Yeah. I almost did that.
Yeah.
I fucking almost did that. And I was like, I can't fucking do that.
So I was in sex addiction therapy. We were in couples therapy. And I was in like group therapy. I was doing a shit ton of therapy.
So much therapy.
We were checking in on the daily. It was a lot of shit, right? And so
accountability.
And I was supposed to go 90 days without doing anything. And I think I can't remember, but I think I made it like 60 some days. It was like after 2 months, I was like, I fucking can't. Couldn't even see straight. Like I was so fucking horny. Yeah. And it is that like that the post nut clarity. Yeah. But it was like the worst unclear it's ever been. Yeah. And I was like, I need to get this release.
I just need to nut.
I need to
really
pop
quick.
this off.
Yeah. Just a quick one. Yeah. Yes.
And so that was like, I was at 60 or some days in.
I feel like that's unhealthy. Is that weird for me to think that?
The 90 days thing?
Yeah.
It's fair because I felt like it is too. I felt like it is too.
90
days? But that's coming from a potential addict herself. So, but 90 days?
Yeah,
90 days is a long motherfucking time, let me tell you.
Yeah.
God, there's gonna have to be a part 3.
Part 3.
There's gonna be, because I could go another hour. But
oh my God, I love it.
So yeah, I had to go. I made it like 60 some days, ended up relapsing, and never told my partner, never told my therapist. It was my little secret.
You didn't tell your therapist.
It's very shameful.
Did you pay your therapist?
Fuck yeah, I did.
You did. Okay.
A shit ton of money.
Dude, that's what's fucking crazy to me is people will hide their deepest, darkest shit, even if they're paying someone to tell them their deepest, darkest shit.
That's how powerful shame is, though.
Oh.
That's how powerful shame is.
I just talked to a girl, one of my closest. Okay, real quick. Sorry to side note. I'm so sorry. We're going to make it quick. Long story short, this guy used to hit on me on Instagram. He used to slide into my DMs all the time. Okay, he'd slide into a lot of women's DMs in the community that I was in, and he would like always be like, oh yeah, like, and he just like want to like just do stuff and be weird and whatever. Anyways, regardless, I was like, okay, I'm gonna cut you off because you're being weird. You have a girlfriend. That was another thing. He had a girlfriend. I didn't decide to tell the girlfriend at the time because I was like, he wasn't getting any, like, it's not like we met and fucked or did anything, right? Like, it was like he was just trying to flirt with me and be weird, right? And then eventually she broke up with him. And then I texted her and I was like, listen, like, now that you've broken up with him, I just have to tell you, like, you did the right thing because whatever, right? And she was so grateful after, like, I told her, and like, you know, women for women, okay? You know, we gotta support each other with these fucking crazy men. And so these, like, she was like, he went to therapy. Like, I knew he had this issue, right? I knew he was talking to other girls. Like, I already knew all about this, but like, he was going to therapy. He was going to therapy. Like, She's like, I knew he was going. He paid this woman money, and he just
Never
lied to
went.
her.
But that's shame, though.
I
That's what
know.
shame will do.
It's mind-boggling to me, but it's powerful.
It's power. Shame.
Yeah.
Shame is probably one
So
of the
what were
most
you lying to
powerful
her
emotions.
about?
About my
Everything?
sobriety.
Yeah, like, oh,
Yeah.
so you lied to that you hadn't had any
I told her,
sex.
I was like, oh, yeah, no, I'm doing
I'm
good.
still doing well.
I'm doing good.
And you
Meanwhile, I was, yeah.
Were you having sex or were you watching porn?
No, I was watching porn and masturbating.
Okay, so you weren't having
her
sex.
and I weren't having sex.
Okay,
No.
okay.
No.
Yeah, that's basically like the common thing that it happens in the church too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For sure.
It's like they don't have sex, right? Like
Who doesn't have sex?
like the man, like the wife and the husband don't have
Uh-huh.
sex, and they're like having issues with sex. There's like, oh, we don't have any intimacy in our relationship. Meanwhile, the man is addicted to porn.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because all that stuff is looked at as voodoo
Yeah.
and disgusting and gross, and you don't want to do that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Anywho, all right,
Anyways,
listen. Look,
okay, we gotta wrap
listen,
it up.
let's do a minute. Let's do an hour and 10.
Okay.
I'm going to wrap this
Wrap
story
this up. I won't interrupt.
In 5 minutes.
I won't interrupt.
It's okay.
I probably will, but I
forgive
won't.
you. So I lied about that, right? And so get this. Oh, this is juicy as fuck.
Okay, I'm ready.
During one of my therapy sessions, one of my group therapy sessions, it was in my ex-girlfriend's small apartment, and she was supposed to be in her room, not listening to me. And so I finally came clean to the group, and I was like, just for some reason, I want to be honest with you guys, because it was like a group of men, and I felt like I'm lying to my boys. Like these,
They're your
these dudes are
friends.
riding with me. I
Right.
wouldn't call them, yeah,
Well,
but
you're-
you know, they're yeah,
like-minded individuals.
yeah, for sure. I mean. But I
They all
felt,
had a sex addiction.
listen, I felt a connection with him,
yeah.
regardless of what it was.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what? Fuck, shit. Let me come clean, man.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what? I've watched porn and I've masturbated. What really it was I didn't want to have to reset that 90 days. That's what the biggest thing was, because like I can't do this 90 days thing. It's rough for me. And so I was like, all right, fuck it. I'll come clean. Told them. She was listening to the entire therapy session when she was not supposed to be. Right? And so
This was supposed to be confidential.
She knows this. She's a therapist.
Oh my gosh.
Yo. And so I come clean to the group. She hears it, but she acts like she doesn't. For 2 seconds. I finished
2 seconds.
I finished my therapy session. I go in there and I'm like, hey, what do you want to eat? And she just fucking breaks down. What did you talk about today in therapy? And I knew she knew.
Yeah,
And
like
I was
you knew
like-
she listened in.
I was like,
She
oh,
tuned
okay.
in for that
Yeah,
episode.
Tuned in a little bit, yeah. And so it all
That's
came.
kind of fucked up.
It is a little bit fucked up.
Like I'm not gonna side with you.
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
let's
that's
not
fine.
pretend.
That's
yeah,
fine.
But like also like you were being very vulnerable and you like had an issue and you fucked up and you knew you fucked up. You felt bad. There was shame, and you were just trying to come clean to people you trusted,
Yeah.
and someone you trusted also was listening in
Broke
on
my
just something
trust.
that wasn't supposed to be listened to.
Broke my trust.
Like there, I mean, you could have told her that at a later time when you were ready, when you had
Yeah.
like really developed in your, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I empathize with that part. I
Yeah.
will say that that's where
Yeah.
empathy comes in for me.
Yeah,
Like even
for
if you're
sure.
fucked up, I'll still
For sure.
empathize with you.
So that happened. I got back on the straight and narrow. I think I ended up relapsing again or some shit like that.
How many days did you go the second time?
I don't remember. It's
Not-
insignificant.
no, not even enough.
I couldn't pull off the whole 90 days things. It just
just
wasn't.
didn't
It just wasn't
work.
for me.
Yeah.
It just wasn't for me. And so, but meanwhile, I was jumping through all these hoops constantly. While I was with my ex, like going through all these therapies, all these check-ins, all these things, and I felt like there was no reprieve. And so I was like, I can't do this anymore. And so I fucking just like blew up. And I was like, all right, I'm done. Like I'm done with the relationship. I'm fucking done with therapy. Done with all this shit. I stopped seeing all of my therapists, everything. I was like, fine, I'm done. And so kind of did it on my own. And of course, I like in the beginning, I was watching porn and I was like, all right, okay, I can kind of do this on my own. And so kind of wean myself off of porn and I would watch it and I would masturbate and I would feel those feelings. I would feel that shame and that guilt and I'd be like, all right. And so, okay, so that's what that feels like. I don't like that feeling, but I feel like it's because of my ADHD. I had to remind myself constantly, like, you don't like that feeling.
Yeah.
Like, even though it feels good when you have an orgasm, the feeling afterwards isn't worth that orgasm.
Yeah.
And so it was a constant reminder. And I felt like being in that relationship and in that situation just clouded my understanding. And there was so much other shit going on. There was so much interference that I really couldn't see, you know?
Yeah.
And so eventually I was like, okay. And funny enough, I'll close out my part with the very last porn that I watched was in February. And it was one of the very first porns that I downloaded. It was on like Kazaa. Do you remember Kazaa?
Okay, I fucking was gonna mention Kazaa in the very beginning when we started talking about porn, because that's where I discovered porn.
I downloaded this
at
porn.
11 years old. Was on Kazaa. I downloaded this porn. It took like 2 days for like 10 minutes of porn, and the last one that I watched was that porn. I was like, oh, and it's always a nostalgic thing for me. I was like, oh, I wonder if I could find this one. And so I would get on and be like, oh, I found it. Yeah. Yeah.
And then it was that very first one was the very last one that I had to find. And I didn't even bust a nut. I was like watching it and masturbating. And then I was like, seriously, I was like, what am I doing? And stopped. And then that was it.
Wow, that was the last. So that was the last porn you watched.
That was the last porn I watched.
Dang. So do you not plan on ever watching it again?
I never want to watch porn again.
Wow.
As a matter of fact,
that's amazing.
A friend of mine was like watching a video. It was a video of a porn playing on a screen in a Tesla, and he was like, "Yo, I didn't know Teslas could do this," and he showed it to me, and I was like, I can't watch that. And he was like, yo, and that's how like open and fucking like okay it is. Yeah. To where you can just be like, oh yeah, hey, look at this fucking porn that I'm watching right now. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, I can't watch that. Yeah. It's bad for me.
Yeah, for you, right?
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
and I feel like you can have a healthy addiction with. Not addiction, a healthy relationship with
that's the biggest
with
thing.
That type of thing. Like
you can have a healthy relationship with sex,
and the idea of it, and like how like porn is opened up and it's different now.
Porn is not healthy.
No, like it's not.
We can agree to disagree.
Yeah.
But
it's not healthy.
For me,
I feel like it wasn't healthy for me at first, and I feel like now that it's opened up in like the way that it's like not stigmatizing a certain body type, and now it's like open.
Doesn't make it okay.
For me, it
doesn't make it okay. Not at all.
It just doesn't make it okay. Well,
not
like so what about sex workers? Like what about women that are in porn?
Not
like,
okay.
You're just like it can't.
Not okay.
It's not okay.
It's
like
not
they shouldn't be in that.
Nah.
They shouldn't be in it.
I don't think so.
Really?
No.
Really? We'll talk about that in another episode.
Yeah.
We'll talk
Stay
about
tuned
that
for part 3, I suppose.
Yeah, because we'll talk about my OnlyFans and then we'll go into that.
We'll
dive deep into that.
We'll talk about my grapefruit eating OnlyFans too.
Oh yeah.
Patreon.
Dude, you should. I'd subscribe. I'd subscribe to it. I'm just saying.
Stop it. All right.
We're gonna close out. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Or I don't know how many episodes we're on now. Fuck it. Thank you for watching Jezebel and the Jester. I'm Jezebel.
I'm the Jester.
Thank you guys so much. If you guys like our content, please make sure you guys like, subscribe, comment, look for us at Jezebel and the Jester. What are we on Twitter?
We're Jezebel and the Jest.
That's right, because he has a limited amount of characters.
Only 15 characters.
Yeah,
this is trash.
well,
Twitter, fix that shit.
You know what, Twitter? Just let us have a little bit longer.
Hey,
name.
Elon
Musk.
Elon, if you're watching
this. Could you imagine if you watched?
Bro.
We're going to tag everything in the YouTube video, so make sure you guys are watching us on YouTube. Subscribe, click that little bell so you guys can make sure that you can see our new content, new videos, new episodes every Friday, late night.
All of that shit.
All of that good
Friday,
shit.
7 o'clock.
Yeah.
On the dot.
On the dot.
In my drop top. Cruising the streets.
Oh my.
I got a real pretty little thing that's waiting for me.
If you guys don't follow us on Instagram, I'll make sure that when this episode releases, I will put a video of us singing that song in our stories on our Instagram at Jezebel and the Jester.
Maybe we should save it for the Patreon.
Absolutely. Thank you guys again. Have a great night. We love you.
Bye.
Bye.